So how long have you known Vin?
I know Vin for so far a year now. I met him by Andrew. He introduced me into him.
Yeah, I've known Vin for like a couple of years now. I met him like ever since elementary. He's always been a cool guy.
So what is Vin like?
Sometimes, yeah, he's hyperactive, but sometimes he gets really depressed sometimes, and get kind of scared that something might happen to him someday. And like whenever he doesn't like doing the stuff that he used to do.
So how has bipolar disorder affected your relationship with Vin?
Well, Vin, he acts really impulsive now. Sometimes to the point where he's not even the same person I used to know some weeks. But then others, he's completely normal. It just confuses me.
He confuses me also. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna get out of it. Either I'm gonna get the happy, always active Vin, or the really sad and reclusive Vin.
Yeah. Why not? Let's go ask Vin if he wants to play Vin.
Hey Vin! I'll go play basketball with us.
I'm good.
But I thought basketball was your favorite sport. All right then. There you go. I told you to don't give me the ball. Hey, what are you doing?
So sadness and disinterest in one's enjoyable activities or social interaction is just one of the many symptoms that come with depressive moods. Other symptoms may include frequent episodes of crying, guilt, feelings of worthlessness, fluctuations in weight and appetite, headaches, backaches, and digestive problems, problems with sleep and concentration, and even thoughts of suicide. And all of these symptoms can be seen in depressive moods that come along with bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. And the only main difference between bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 being that patients with bipolar 1 experience much more severe forms of manic attacks that can usually intervene with their daily lives, while patients with bipolar 2 experience hypomanias, which are simply mid to moderate forms of mania that don't usually lead to as much disruptive behavior as severe mania would. Okay, so Vin, I'm just going to ask you a few simple questions to kind of like assess your mood stability. And the first one I'm going to start off with is, how have you been feeling this week?
Well, I've been pretty alright. I mean, I've been smiling lately, so that's probably good. I mean, sometimes there's this little stuff that kind of niggles at me until I'm just gonna explode, but that's probably not too good. And I guess when I have to try to think and concentrate, it's just tough because I don't know, my thoughts get all swirly and twirly and all around. I just can't, I'm like in the middle of it and I just can't like think right, you know?
Makes sense. Have you had any trouble like falling asleep?
Yeah, I just can't, there's like a pressure in my head that's just not going away and I just can't sit back and relax, I guess.
What are some activities you like to do?
Well, I mean, lately I've been buying a lot of stuff, just, online, because why not? I have money, people have stuff they want to get for money, and, I don't know, my friends will say when I get like this, I start to like brag a lot, and I mean, what's going wrong with that? Confidence don't hurt everyone.
Would you consider your actions as reckless spending?
No. It's
1 week later.
Okay, so the last time we spoke, it was last week, and now I just kind of want to like assess and ask you some of the same questions to see like if there's any differences we can know. So have you noticed any changes in your mood since last week?
I don't know. I guess I just been a lot of it, I guess, and I guess my head hurts, and I just can't think straight.
Okay. Last week you mentioned you were going out and you were spending a lot of money. Are those activities still continuing, or?
I just don't feel like going out and seeing. I'm just not up for it. Eating's been weird. Sometimes I'm eating a lot of don't want it in my mouth.
Have you talked to your friends lately? Any social attraction?
No. I've just been mostly on the house. Haven't really seen them in a while.
Have you tried talking to them?
No, I'm just not upset.
So after sitting with our patient on 2 different occasions, we noticed many of the symptoms that aligned with manic moods in the first week that we met with him, and many of the depressive symptoms that came with the second week. But since we already discussed the symptoms that come with depressive moods, we're going to move on to the symptoms that come with manic moods. Starting off with the most obvious, that was a change in mood. He was definitely a lot more excited and had a much more elevated mood within the first week. But since these aren't just ordinary feelings of joy, they also might cause troubling symptoms, including the racing thoughts he mentioned, possible insomnia, increased risk-taking, as was noticed with his spending. And without treatment, these episodes will become more frequent and take longer to subside. And so it's very important to treat these symptoms before the disorder enters extreme phases, which then might incur psychotic symptoms like disorganized speech, delusional thoughts, paranoia, and hallucinations, which are all connected to an overabundance of dopamine, which tends to happen because patients with bipolar have lost the ability of pruning. And so the brain's ability to remove unused or faulty neural connections is disrupted, and this allows for neurons to basically go haywire and create these abnormal thoughts and behaviors. And so let's take a look at how this happened and how we might be able to treat these symptoms.
What might have caused bipolar disorder then?
Well, typically patients diagnosed with bipolar are found to have some sort of hormonal imbalance, and this mixed in with some sort of trigger, like a traumatic experience, which can include like a loss of a close family member, or if they're having high levels of stress, this can like sort of trigger the bipolar disorder. And this tends to predominate around like the ages of like 14 and above, so late teens. That's where most patients get or start like seeing some of the symptoms, and they get diagnosed at the age.
I see. How are you going to treat Vin's symptoms?
Well, we can begin by prescribing him with some sort of mood stabilizing medication. So something like lithium, which will take effect around 10 to 14 days, and this will basically help lessen the severity and frequency of, let's say, mania, and also will help reduce depression.
Gary, now I know I was wrong. I messed up and now you're gone. Gary, I'm sorry I neglected you. Oh, I never expected you to run away and leave me feeling this empty. Your meow right now would sound like music to me. Please come home, 'cause I miss you.